Welcome to the Bodyguard podcast, where science meets natural healing to uncover the root causes of complex health issues. Your host, Christine Barnes, is a leading complex case health practitioner specializing in functional testing and personalized care. This show dives deep into clinical analysis, cutting-edge diagnostics, natural therapies, and holistic strategies to optimize your health and well-being. Your health is unique. Your healing should be too.
Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about SIBO. SIBO stands for Small Intestinal Bacterial Overgrowth. It's quite a mouthful. It's a gut condition that's widely undiagnosed but can wreak havoc throughout your digestion and create symptoms of low energy and low overall well-being. So if you've been struggling with some of these symptoms, and please keep in mind there can be a wide range of underlying drivers for these symptoms, outside of SIBO. So if you have these symptoms, it doesn't mean you actually have SIBO, but you may have bloating that starts in the morning and by the afternoon is much worse. Gas, belching, discomfort after meals, constipation, and or diarrhea, food intolerances that seem to be increasing, unexplained fatigue, brain fog, and even skin issues, then SIBO may be the hidden underlying culprit. So today I'm going to speak about what SIBO is and why it happens, how to test for it, why conventional treatments may not successfully treat it, and how to treat SIBO from a functional naturopathic approach. So let's get stuck in. Small intestinal bowel overgrowth basically means that there are too many bacteria in the small intestine where they shouldn't be. Now, we do have bacteria in there, but not at a high level. Normally, the small intestine has very few bacteria compared to the large intestine. So once again, there is bacteria in the small intestine. However, the great majority should be in the large intestine. And this is where the great majority of our microbiome lives, in the large intestine. But with SIBO, bacteria from the colon or large intestine migrate up into the small intestine and start fermenting food way too early, thus the gas, bloating, and inflammation. By the way, SIBO is not just a gut health problem, it's a dysfunction of the gut's motility, the body's immune system, and the microbiome. Now, the common causes of SIBO can be, and it's not limited to these causes, these are just, the top 6, can be from low stomach acid or what's called hypochlorhydria, where stomach acid should be killing off the bacteria before they reach the small intestine. So low stomach acid allows the bacteria to thrive and pass into the small intestine. Slow gut motility. This is the migrating motor complex. It's in our gut's natural cleanup wave that sweeps bacteria out. If it's not working well, often not due to stress, but also can be due to infections or nervous system dysfunction, bacteria will accumulate. Food poisoning or gut infections. So food poisoning, as we know, is exposure to a pathogen. Again, goes into the stomach. If the stomach acid is low, it'll pass into the small intestine. And these can damage the nerves that control gut motility, leading to chronic SIBO. Chronic stress. This slows digestion, weakens stomach acid, and alters our gut motility. Drives inflammation, affects sleep. So many things come under this heading. Antibiotic overuse can wipe out good bacteria, allowing opportunistic bacteria to overgrow. So it literally could be from, I needed an antibiotic for whatever was going on, or maybe prescribed an antibiotic where it wasn't necessary, and this then has caused an imbalance in the beneficial bacteria that allows the overgrowth of more opportunistic species. Structural issues in the digestion can also drive SIBO. Adhesions from surgery, which I've experienced myself, C-section scars, endometriosis, so many things that can affect, and it's not limited to these are just some that I'm naming here. Anything that slows down gut movement will create bacterial buildup. SIBO is often misdiagnosed as irritable bowel syndrome, and in fact, 80% of people with irritable bowel syndrome actually have SIBO. Let's talk about how to actually test for SIBO. So this is a breath test. Many people suffer from SIBO for years without getting a proper diagnosis, and yet the test is simple and easy to do at home. Commonly, lactulose or glucose is the drink supplied to measure then the hydrogen and methane gases that the bacteria in the small intestine produce. It's non-invasive. You drink the solution and then breathe into a tube, and the testing's done over a few hours one morning. This then produces a test result that distinguishes between hydrogen SIBO and methane SIBO. Methane SIBO, by the way, is now called IMO, intestinal methogen overgrowth. Types of SIBO. So we've heard about hydrogen SIBO. It can cause diarrhea and bloating. Methane SIBO causes constipation, bloating, and weight gain. Hydrogen sulfide SIBO causes diarrhea, commonly foul-smelling gas, and sulfur intolerances. Now, keep in mind, once again, sulfur intolerance can come from mercury toxicity as well. And there can be many other reasons that could drive these same symptoms. So just because you have these symptoms doesn't mean you have these specific SIBOs. It may be 10 of one, half a dozen of the other, or something completely different. So proper testing is essential before starting treatment. I often recommend in my clinic, if somebody wants to do a SIBO breath test, that we also partner that with a microbiome test, because often we can see the level of bacteria that may be specifically driving the SIBO that's then creeped into the small intestine. So I find that quite a comprehensive approach by doing those two tests. So let's look at functional and naturopathic treatment for SIBO, as well as how a doctor might approach this. So a medical doctor who has diagnosed SIBO will treat frequently with antibiotics. Something like rifaximin is commonly used. However, this alone often leads to a relapse because it doesn't address the root cause. So it's only doing part of the job. However, if you choose to use antibiotics, please consider including a naturopathic treatment alongside the antibiotic treatment that supports your overall health, gut health, and minimizes the potential negative impact of the antibiotics. And this, if you choose to go down this path, is something that will minimize potential future relapse. A functional naturopathic approach focuses on some key steps to fully resolve SIBO. So the following may not be appropriate for your health case, and I don't recommend self-treatment. The ideas I'm suggesting are simply to give you an idea or example what may be a protocol that your treating naturopath may take under consideration for you, but doesn't necessarily mean we're going to use all of these, and not necessarily in this order, or it may be a completely different treatment depending on what your test result is and other aspects of your health. So when we're talking about killing off a pathogenic overgrowth in your digestion, we're looking at the group of herbs called antimicrobials. Now, oregano is one such herb. It's a potent antibacterial, antifungal, and anti-inflammatory. Berberine is another such antimicrobial. It kills harmful bacteria while supporting the gut lining. So it's a really interesting herb and even has weight loss benefits depending on the dose. Neem helps with methane SIBO. So this is the constipation type. And often with the methane SIBO, we need to look at other ways of stimulating the bowels to move more frequently whilst we're killing off the underlying driver. Now, allicin is the extract, so it's the active constituent from garlic, and it's best and fairly targeted for hydrogen sulfide SIBO. Now, there are many other antimicrobials we could choose from. These are just a few to give you some examples of a naturopathic approach. We also want to support digestive functions, so we want to build that stomach acid up. Now, this may mean dealing with stress as a priority, or even if there's neurotransmitter imbalances. If we've done a neurotransmitter test, we may be addressing that first. But again, just to give you an idea, we will be looking at ways of increasing stomach acid. So betaine HCl is one of a few options we've got there. Digestive enzymes. Now, this helps break down the food properly because part of the pathogen that's related to the wide variety of SIBOs could be stopping you break down and absorbing your food. And food that isn't processed appropriately adds to fermentation. And often we find increasing bile flow really helps, and specifically helps break down fats and prevents future bacterial growth. So if somebody has low bile flow ongoing for, it may be a physical reason, there's many reasons to have low bile flow, that may be a supplement that we choose to use ongoing. And then we want to restore gut motility. So motility boosters are what's commonly called prokinetics. Now, they are simple. Prokinetics are simple nutrients. Sometimes they're herbs, sometimes they're nutrients that increase the motility of our bowel function or our digestive system. A couple that I commonly use, ginger and 5-HTP, which is from the seed of a herb. It's not appropriate to use this if you're using any mood stabilizers. So again, please don't just randomly introduce these. We need to look at your whole overall health. In methane-dominant cases, cascara may be appropriate to really stimulate the bowels. And of course, we want to stay well hydrated. Let's not forget some stress management techniques. There are some guided breathwork, meditation, guided meditations, and guided relaxations available to download from the bodyguard.com.au website. So they vary in time. Some of the breathwork is quite simple and is just a few minutes. The guided short relaxation is just 12 minutes, but we have a wide variety there that vary in time and fit with the varying levels of attention span. So please look at that, but also simple things like walking can be very helpful for stress management and also digestion. So please don't forget the simple things that are very beneficial for our overall health and wellness. Let's look at rebuilding the gut lining and microbiome. Often I will use glutamine and zinc carnosine. So zinc carnosine is specific for healing the gut lining. It's slightly different to elemental zinc. Marshmallow root and aloe vera soothes inflammation and helps create a healthy mucus lining within the gut. Spore-based probiotics are best used in the initial days of treatment. So commonly people may suggest lactobacillus strains. They're not wrong, but initially you want to start with spore-based unless there is some other aspect to your health that suggests otherwise. And if you have a microbiome test, the microbiome test result will help guide the second stage of probiotics and dosing. Long-term prevention and diet for SIBO. Initially, we want to focus on foods that do not ferment or have a low frequency of fermenting, and we want to avoid fermented foods, which are commonly used as far as a wellness principle or wellness approach to healthy digestion. But when we're already over-fermenting in SIBO and even in fructose malabsorption, we want to actually give the body a break from this over-fermenting status until we've reduced that fermentation process. Now, because of that, we also want to avoid excess fiber. We want to include fiber, but we may have like a short initial period where we don't over-accentuate fiber or starchy foods. And we also want to introduce, possibly as second stage, some resistant starches, and we want to do these at low dose and slowly build them up. Now, resistant starches act like prebiotics. So this is when we've cooked our potatoes or rice or sweet potato or even pasta, and we've cooled it, preferably for about 12 hours, and then we can use that either by reheating it or consuming it cold. Now, we still don't want to have an over or excessive intake of starches. And I think for general health and gut health, we want to keep starches to a minimum. And we also want to avoid excessive snacking in between meals. Now, this might be relevant only if your whole case only involves SIBO, but in some cases when we've got blood sugar issues, we do need to have snacks in between meals, and that might be that we are mindful what those snacks are and include the snacks. But if your overall health and wellness is good, and again, this is one of the benefits of working with a naturopath, because the naturopath can do a clinical assessment of whether you should include snacks, what those snacks are, or whether you should exclude snacking in between meals. So it's about finding and creating interventions that fit with you and your overall health and wellness, as well as the SIBO. Now, healing SIBO there's often an overfocus on just killing the bacteria. And it's not just about killing the bacteria, it's about restoring the entire gut ecosystem. SIBO can be quite simple in some cases, although most of the cases I see are complex. With the right testing and treatment and lifestyle support, you can fully heal your gut and prevent relapses in the future. So if you have bloating, IBS-style symptoms, or food sensitivities, it may be worthwhile we investigate a SIBO part of your picture. We want to do proper testing, and as I suggested earlier in this podcast, not just SIBO testing, but there may be benefits in other functional tests for your health case. But specifically to diagnose SIBO, it is a breath test. And we want to treat the root cause, not just the symptoms and not just the diagnosis. Functional medicine and a naturopathic approach provide a long-term solution, not just a quick fix. If you suspect you have SIBO and need guidance, my team at the Bodyguard Clinic can help you. And it might just be testing. We can help you with that. Or if you choose a personalised treatment plan by me, we can also get you organised to receive that as well. So if you've got any of these symptoms, please consider SIBO as part of your health picture. I hope that's been helpful, and I look forward to speaking to you at the next podcast.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Bodyguard Podcast. We hope you found valuable insights to help you take control of your health journey. Want to dive deeper? Visit thebodyguard.com.au to learn more about our work, explore resources, and discover how personalised care can transform your well-being. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to share it with others on social media. Your support helps us reach more people looking for answers. Until next time, take care and keep prioritising your health, because your healing should be as unique as you are. Please note the information in this podcast is for educational purposes only and not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The Bodyguard accepts no liability for any loss or damage arising from the use of this content. Always consult a healthcare professional.